Right, good evening, folks. This is my first annual review for Eman's Emporium. Today is January 1st, 2025. I was going to record this yesterday, but I kind of got interrupted by my baby 6 times. So, what is Eman's Emporium? Let's start with that. I have a note page over here, so I might be looking off to the right a little bit, but let's get to it. So, back in 2021, I wanted to get back into playing Magic. Specifically, I wanted to be able to go to tournaments and stuff again and kind of rebuild my collection. I was working full time and I could afford the hobby again. I was like, you know what, let's take this seriously. I'd like to get back into playing. And I wanted the hobby to fund itself. So I wanted to make, good purchases and start reselling cards right off the bat, enter events, try to win more than I was spending. Like, I used to be able to draft and basically make money because of the way I was drafting. I was winning enough that I could keep funding playing in the next drafts. It was cool. One of my initial goals with it was I wanted to start a team for playing, and I reached out to a few people about it. But this was after college, and a lot of the people that I knew that played were starting their careers, starting families, and me too, honestly. Spending 20 or more hours a week playing Magic wasn't really feasible for a lot of us. And I really actually included myself, which is kind of where this led. So Eman's Emporium became a resale business. Everything from Lego, video games, board games, movies, VHS tapes. I love VHS tapes. I'm collecting, I'm hoarding those like crazy. But CDs, books, other media, tools, sports equipment. And I was making videos on YouTube trying to synergize all of them. So one of the first things I did was I was logging the collections I was buying. And here's a playlist on Eman's Emporium, and I'll put a link in there. And I've kept track of everything I've bought. I've tried to keep up on the descriptions, and I can reference these videos as well for my business to see kind of where I was at the time, what I was doing. Let's see, I have a picture here somewhere. This one. We don't need this one at all. We need this one. So this is currently what my setup looks like. It's a big U-line shelf. Those wire racks from Home Depot. It's a 6 shelf on wheels. There we go. And I have books stacked on the top here that aren't pictured, and underneath it I have boxes with like sleeves and stuff. So this whole rack is my store. You can see we have some Legos down here and some books, some board games, some video games. I wanted to be able to flip things. I was like, well, if I'm going to be buying cards and selling them, what else can I do that with? Pretty much anything. In the past, I've sold aquariums, lawn equipment, cars. I sold a few cars, trucks, some clothing, computers. I'm decent with computers, scrap metal and other types of metal, precious metals, and electronics. So I was like, okay, I have a skill set for this. Maybe Eman's Emporium is more than just trading cards. But definitely the center pillar of my business is a trading card resale business. I basically source everything from Facebook, and that's going to be a point to talk about in a little bit. But I'm trying to move away from that or add other streams. So here's my QR code. I just opened it up for the sake of it, but both of those I print on every envelope and my welcome letters. So, or my thank you letters, my logo and my QR code, so you can find us. I'm on YouTube, obviously, Instagram, Facebook. I need to use more. I made one, but I don't use it the way you should, and I haven't used it at all. So, TikTok, I might go back to that. I want to see how it's going to play out this year. TikTok sales is a place I should probably be. But eBay, of course, TCG Player, and Facebook Marketplace is my primary source for the moment. Let's get into it. I want to talk shop. So 2024, my goal for 2024 at the end of 2023 was I wanted to have a green year. I wanted to make more than I spent. And I did do that. Pretty happy with that. I keep track of everything in Excel. I have an actions tab here, so sales, refunds, items that are purchases. I break down my sales and things that I'm doing into like bulk, collections, singles, binders. I have shipping fees in here. I keep track of it all. I keep a running tally of cards that I've purchased. We have Magic, Pokemon, and other. I have a separate tab for my sales, so I have to log my sales twice. That's okay. I know they make software for this, but I wanted to tweak it my way, and this lets me do that. It is one extra step. That's something that I could improve on in the future, but I also wasn't going to spend money on software when I was first starting out. I also have a separate one just for resale, but it's not very much on it. And like I said, I'm pretty much just trading cards, and that's okay. I want to get one thing down really well and not overstretch myself. Some diversification is good. We'll get into that. One of the cool things about this Excel sheet I made is a total profit loss. So, like I said, I had a green year, but I'm still, we'll call it 1900 in the negative. And my goal this year is to break that. The business will be positive this year. Keeps track of how many cards I have. I have 78,000, almost 500 in inventory in my collection. It also, like I said, I keep track of Magic and Pokemon separate because they're my two big ones, 60,000 and 12,000. It gives me a percentage too, so I can see like 77% of my collection is Magic. So last year was actually more, and I've spent this year diversifying that. So we'll talk more about inventory in a future part. I wanted to start with sales first, but so my goal of 2024 being green, I had to have a plan, and part of that plan is like, okay, so if I buy a card, how much should I pay for it? I keep track of that. I have averages here, so my average price for a Magic card right now is 2 cents, and Pokemon is 12, and so I know I need to sell it for more than that, and after fees to make a profit. But how much is my time worth too? So selling 25-cent cards, I get about 22 cents after all the shipping goes in, the fees are taken out. I'm left with about 22 cents, which is 11 times gain. That's pretty good. That's just on a quarter. Well, I'm looking at that. I figured that number out, and I was like, okay, well, I need to focus on the big cards first. While sorting through all of those collections, all of these, I was setting aside the rares, because the first thing I do is I count them and set the rares and foils aside. Those are typically going to be the money cards. So at the beginning of 2023, the first thing I did was, okay, I scanned them, and I started at the top with my $10 cards and my $5 cards. I got those all listed in February. And I even had I had two big ones this year. One was a Charizard that was over 100, and a Vampire card, an Edgar Markov Commander card. I think I got like 110 for that. And these are in the same bulk buys. I paid 2 cents for these cards. The Charizard, I take it back. I paid $4 for that one because it was broken down in a collection with a bunch of other things. So there's that. And I've been calling this method like you chasing the high dollar cards. All year I've been saying, get the whale. Go get the whale. Like if we're fishing, we want the most meat we can get. Like I want that whale, which are these big dollar cards. I needed to get those listed, and I did. And that is definitely at least half of where all that profit for this year came from. Speaking of profit, my gross sales this year were 3,800. My income after all the fees and such was 3,200, 3,300 will round up. My net after cost of goods was a little under 3,000. I spent $405 on stamps and shipping. Total expenses was about 2,500-ish. And interesting, on collections I reinvested. We'll round up to 1,900. So all in all, at the end of the year, my net income was $714. So, and I can do that with going through this actions page. I can grab a tally and it'll give me down the bottom. But if I want to break it down further, I can organize it and see, well, what did I spend on booster boxes, bulk, claims, refunds, things like that, tins and sleeves, everything. I try to keep the categories limited, but enough that I can organize them the way I need to. So I do have quite a few here. Shelving, like that's on here because that shelf that I showed you that was bought with business money, and I accounted for it. I was trying to treat it very seriously from the start. Key point on the sales is unlisted inventory is dead money. Like, if I go to my highlights, I know I have 78,000 cards, but listed on TCG Player and eBay, as of yesterday, I only had 2,669 cards listed, maybe 40 or so on eBay. So if I rounded way up, I could call it 2,700. That's only 3% of all my cards are listed. That's not good. So that's something, we'll talk about that more. But I was able to figure these things out throughout this year and use it to kind of guide me. Try to make proper business decisions to keep it being profitable. I spent $1,900 on inventory that I probably shouldn't have. I would be green if I did not buy any inventory this year. I would have had a green year, and then I would be completely in the green. So now this year, my goal is to not buy anything until everything is listed, but more on that. So total sales, one of the other interesting points was I sold 17,617 cards. Two big ways I did that are the singles I was listing and binders and bulk. So this bulk order here, it's 1,000 cards for $50. It's like a long 800,000 card box, one of those long ones. Fill it right up, sell it on Facebook, and move it. The binders, same thing. I'll take a binder, throw about 10 sleeves in it, fill it up with Pokemon cards. And this one was 124 cards for $20, and if I'm paying 1-2 pennies a card, $2 for a binder, like I'm making about $10 on these. And those are also on Facebook. Somewhere in the beginning of the year, I don't remember the exact date. I could go up here and find it, but I actually canceled my eBay membership. eBay charges like $20, $22 a month to have like 1,000 listings or something like that. But you get 250 a month for free, and I can keep that 250 listings full of things like Pokemon tins and Legos are the big ones on there right now. I can keep my 250 full and kind of moving out on the side. I didn't think the $22 was worth it for me because focusing on singles on TCG Player was, first off, free and so much faster. Like, I can list a card on TCG Player 15 seconds, something like that. eBay, I have to take a bunch of pictures, but again, we'll talk about some of that. Actually, that's the next point. I should go right into that. So, TCG Player, eBay, and Facebook. There's a few different differences that I've found selling on all three of these platforms. TCG Player is quick to list, no pictures. That's great for lightly played cards. Like, people know what they're going to get. Things that are cheaper is not the right word, but like under $100, 50 like $1, $50 is gold for TCG Player, because typically they're like, oh, okay, I'm getting a lightly played copy of that card. I don't need to see all of its edges. This isn't a first edition card or Power 9 rare cards. This is like your bread and butter card. So I don't need to see pictures of it. I just need to know that it's lightly played or moderately played, and that actually shows up in that condition. It's not beat. eBay is great for cards that, one, I can't list on TCG Player. So Japanese cards are the big ones. Harry Potter cards. And I had some other ones also. Baseball cards, things like that. If I end up with those in my collection, I throw those on eBay. And I list them at a price. I'm trying to move them. I put them like a little under market value, and I'm trying to get them out of my inventory and be liquid with them so that I can focus on TCG Player. Plus, I only have those 250 spots on eBay, so I need to keep them moving. But eBay requires pictures, and the more the better quality, the better of it. So using eBay for high dollar cards like Charizard that I sold on there, I took pictures of, here I have a beat up card right here. I'm going to use this one as an example, but like, let's get way up here. When you're taking those pictures, I'm trying to hit all four corners, front and back. I want to get real close to this piece of tape on this card. Yeah. I don't know what that is, but it's an energy card. I'm just going to, this is a damaged card. It's going to get destroyed and removed from inventory and caught a loss, but it came with the collection. So I did buy that card. It will be written off. But so with eBay, you have to hit as many pictures as you can. That takes more time. I can do them on my phone pretty quickly now. And so if it's like a Harry Potter cheap card, I'll just do front and back, get it listed to maybe a minute. TCG Player, I can list cards in, like I said, 10 to 15 seconds. I can have a card listed. If I have multiples of that card too, I can put a quantity in and really, like, I could type in 100, like boom, all 100 listed. They're all on TCG Player, ready to go. eBay, we need pictures, right? And we want the pictures to match up. So I can't take pictures of this one card and post on another. I think that is dishonest. If I'm looking for a specific card, I want that specific card to show up, and I put their name listings. I'm like, you will get this pictured card, and I think people do like that. I'm not talking condition. You can be the judge of the condition based on the pictures as well. I'll put it in the description, but the buyer gets to see that. So there's pros and cons. TCG Player, you can't see it. eBay, you can. Facebook. I started off trying to sell a big box of bulk at the beginning of the year. I had 5,000-6,000 cards in it or something. No, it was 10. It was close to 10,000 because I broke up the 10,000 cards into 5 smaller lots. So Facebook Marketplace is great for picking up collections, but when I'm selling, one of the dilemmas is, man, you get a million questions with Facebook Marketplace. Some of them are is this available? Those auto-generated responses, and people hit them by accident, and you got to answer. Like, I'm in sales. I'm not going to get mad at somebody. Is this available? Quick, yes. Yes, it is. Hopefully they answer back. And I would say probably 2 out of 3, nothing, no answer. Maybe they hit it by accident. Maybe they changed their mind. It doesn't matter. You got to answer them to get that last 1/3 where they may still ask you a bunch of questions. There are other people out there like me doing this. So if I have this big box of 10,000 cards and it's listed for $400, which is where I started it at, people are going to want to come and look through them, and they're going to want to haggle, negotiate. So you have to set your price higher to leave yourself space to negotiate, but also you might show that collection to 3 people like I did, and they're simply not interested. They're doing the same thing I am, and they're looking for high dollar cards. They're looking to make a quick buck or add enough to their collection that's worth that money. So I broke it down into smaller lots. They were about 2,500 cards, and I had them listed for $100. And I was able to move a few of them. No, I moved all of them over the course of this year. I could probably scroll up and find them, but it took a while. It took almost the whole year to move those that way. In around September, I changed to doing about 1,000 cards, as you saw on that Excel sheet down here towards the bottom, one of my last bulk sales. Right here, bulk, $50. I'm still leaving myself room to negotiate price with people. Some people don't want to negotiate. They're just like $50. They take the box and they go. That's fine. And I would be willing to, honestly, I would probably take 30 for these. I'm not gonna lie. I would still make a little bit of money, and it gets bulk out of my collection. It's liquid. It's stuff I don't care about. Like, let it go. The dilemma with both these and the binders is the time and the driving. So like, I drive down the store. I used to be willing to drive almost 30 minutes to do these sales. I stopped doing that because like that's an hour, and I could just go work an hour overtime. I'm an electrician. I'm still in training for it, but if I go work an hour of overtime, I make like $50. Why don't I just go do that instead of messing around with this if I'm treating it like a business, right? So now I'll only go down to my local store, which is 10 minutes from me, and I make people come to me. Either they want them or they don't. I offer shipping on all these. I say right in my postings, I'm like, hey, I will ship this for extra. It saves us both time and money. People on Facebook don't like that. I've only had like 2 people take me up on that. They want to come look at them. They want, maybe it's a trust thing. I have great Facebook reviews, TCG Player and eBay, and I tell people, I'm like, hey, I'm right here, you can see it. And it is what it is. So people want to look at it, they want to dig through things. So I'm moving a little away from Facebook and only offloading bulk there at a price point that, a term I learned in college, and it was price sensitivity. $25 for a Pokemon binder or $50 for a box of Magic cards doesn't break a person's price sensitivity. $400 is scaring away a lot of customers. $100 is scaring away a lot of customers. $25, $50? That's doable. And the binders, I'm moving almost one of those a week. The bulk boxes, I'd say one a month. I think I need to bring that down a little more and do like 500 cards for 25 bucks. That's probably what I'm gonna do. It'll be small boxes, and a lot of the people that buy these are their parents buying them for their kids. They don't want to buy $400 worth of cards. That's sensitive to their price sensitivity. They can't do that. 25, 50 bucks, they can swing that. So it took me this year to really figure out that price point for Facebook. On TCG Player, I'm listing cards at market or slightly above, and I have a floor price of 25 cents. I won't sell them for under that because it's just not worth the time. The goal is that they find a card they like at market value, and then they look through my listings and find other cards that they're interested in and add them. And I've had a few people do that. So I can pack them up together, one order, and go. And where's the button? Right here. I'm going to pause. I'll be right back. Okay. So TCG Player, the floor price is now 25 cents. And I'm selling... I'm having less transactions, but the transactions are worth more now. Because you got to figure too, like, it takes me a few extra seconds to find the card when I'm initially sorting, and then I list it and I put it in a box, and I got to go pick it and packing. Try to factor all those in. If I'm selling orders, I honestly am aiming for $5 an order. That's a great price point where, like, if I packed up cards for an hour and all those orders were $5 or more, I'd have a great hour. I'd make something like 75, 80 bucks. And $2.50 is still pretty good. So if I hit the 250, great. Sometimes I get these orders that are 25 cents, and that's it for the hour. I have to set up my printer, I have to print it, I have to pack it, I ship it out, and I've got that streamlined. I can do one order in under 15 minutes, but it's most of that set up and tear down. So when I get a lot of orders all together, I get like economy of scales. I can print all my pages at once. I can hit all my envelopes at once. I can pick all the cards at once. I can sleeve them all at once. So I definitely want more orders together. But I don't want too many where I'm just like listing and selling them for nothing. So 25 cents became my floor, and I do like that. I think that's going to be the profit range. And 25 cents is good because on TCG Player, you get free shipping on $5 or more. So people will add those 25-cent cards to hit the $5 to get free shipping. They will also... postage is important when you're sending out multiple cards in an envelope. If I do... It's between 7 and 9 cards. I'm not saying 8. It's like a 7, 8, or 9. And it depends on what those cards are. I might hit the weight that I have to do a second stamp or an additional stamp. So I have to charge 25 cents because if they order... let's say 50 cards for me, and they're all like 5-6 cent cards, I lose money on shipping because I got to throw 2 stamps on it, or I have to put it in a big bubble mailer, stack the cards and mail it out, and I'm paying like $4 in shipping, and then it's a complete wash. I lose all that money on those. So 25 cents is my minimum to deter people from like filling up the cart, buying everything out of me, and I lose money. We don't want that. It's a business. We're treating it like one. eBay has the you can order shipping labels from them. That's still working out really well for me. And I have a scale over here now that I use. I got that, I believe, at the end of last year. I've used all of this year. That's been great. I have a magnifying glass over here now that I'm using for conditioning these cards as they come in. Also, it's light for me. Like, it's nice. And those things are great for eBay because I'm taking those pictures, so I'm trying to zoom way in. I also got a jeweler's loop, so I can zoom on the back of cards. I think it's like 20 times loop, and I can look at the green dots to verify that the cards are real. Stuff like that. I'm kind of honing that side of the craft as well. And eBay and TCG Player have great protections for both customers and buyers. That's a little bit of a learning curve, but I do like it so far. Facebook, I bought a couple things on there, like on the online side, and their customer service is bonkers. They have a long way to go, and I think they're upping their fees this year to 10% on shipping. So they want to compete with eBay and TCG Player, but their customer service is not there. So like I just use Facebook to dump bulk and to buy collections. More on that coming up, but talked about packing orders and how it scales. So like if I can get 10 orders in a day and pack them up all in an hour, it's a great hour. If I'm doing 1 or 2 a day, it's really not the best. The benefit though is it's I work full time, have a baby, so doing 1 or 2 here and there, I can still put my envelope and I can advertise in it. I always throw a few extra cards in my orders, so like if they only order 1 card, I send them 4. Like I'm making this stamp worth it for you too, and I hope they come back and be a repeat customer. Each one is a chance to make a repeat customer, and I haven't had anybody reach out yet, but I have all my socials in these letters. They can always message me. Maybe I could send them bulk directly, or maybe they could send me a collection. So that's one of the things that we're building towards with all this. Some room for improvement this year. After seeing, this was the big one for me, is I need to list more. Like, 3% of my magic cards are listed, or 3% of my trading cards are listed. Not good. I'm going to focus on this. I'm not buying anything until everything is listed or accounted for. So I know on the bottom of my shelf I have, let's do the math. They're 5-row boxes. Each row is 1,300. So that's 5. Each of those is 6,500 cards, and I have 6 of them down there that are full. It's almost 40,000 cards right there that are true bulk. I'm trying to move them like that. If somebody came and was like, yeah, I'll buy all those, I might work out something with them, but I'm not gonna lie to them. That's bulk. You're not really gonna get a hit rare in there. You can probably fill out your collection though, and then sell the rest. So that's for a specific customer. I'm gonna move those in those 1,500 card chunks. So those are technically listed for me, and that leaves the other half that I'm trying to list. I'm trying to do like 100 or so a day. That gives me a chance to list them, sort them, so my desk doesn't get covered in cards. And a couple of times this year, I was listing a pile like this, 400 or 500 cards, and I'd list them and had them in a tray over here. And then if a sale happens, I'm like, oh shoot, I have to move the tray out of my way, and I have to pick cards from 2 places. Like, no, 100 cards, list them, sort them, put them away. Consistency. This is doing 100 cards a day is better than trying to do 500 on Sunday. Like, I'm busier now than I've ever been in my life. That's part of the reason I haven't been playing. And that's okay. I want to get this back in the green before I'm playing again. And the state of Magic, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm okay with not playing. So, something else I want to work on this year is networking. Again, I send out these letters on every order, and it's a thank you letter with my socials in it so that people can follow me on Instagram. And I've gotten a few on Instagram and a few on YouTube. It's a good feeling. So I want to try to reach out, I guess, more, or create more channels that people can reach me at, or I could create more content for them to interact with. So this is one of those goals. Here's my annual breakdown of what we're doing, the behind the scenes of the business, and we can talk cards, we can talk Legos, we talk toys, all kinds of stuff. Like, I want to make that little place for people into those hobbies. A quick story on buying and selling cards with Facebook. This is easy to improve on. Just don't buy cards like this. So one of the things I've been working on is a list of questions to ask if I'm buying a collection. So, for example, do you know how many cards are in that collection? Do you have pictures of the lot? So if I could just see, I know what's in a 5-row box. If it's full, I know what's in a 4, 2, or 3. Like, I know I handle cards all day. So if I can just see a good picture of everything from the outside, I can kind of eyeball it just from a picture. Is it a smoke-free home? Story will follow up on that. Any pets in the home? Where were the cards stored? I went to one collection, I did turn it down because they were stored in a basement and you could smell the dampness on them. And I was like, there might be some good stuff in here, but I'm trying to resell them. I can't sell smelly cards. Per TCG player, those are destroyed. If they have a smell to them, they are considered destroyed. And I'm not going to deal with that. It's also not good for the customer. It's not good for me. It's a waste of money, waste of time. So I'm working on this list of checkpoints before I even consider a collection. Price per card was the big one, but now it's things like, well, I am sensitive to the condition of those cards. I went to pick up a collection. I honestly can't remember if it was 2022, at the end of 2022, or if it was, I think it was in the summer 22. and it was a tote, a big like sterilite tote filled with cards. I opened it up and I was like, "You want $200 for all these? I know that I'm gonna hit my price per card. Perfect." I handed him the money, took them home. That was it. I get home and I start sorting through them, and they all have like a texture on them. Were they stored in the basement? I asked him. He was like, "Yeah, they were stored in my garage, but they weren't wet." And I'm like, "They feel weird. They're like, you rub your hand over them, and it had like a film on every single one of them." I was like, "Oh my god!" So I pull everything out, and I can't make this stuff up. There was like a 1 inch layer of marijuana trimmings under these cards, just the whole tote. I reached out to the guy and I was like, "Who does this? What the hell?" He didn't have an answer for me. I wiped down every card. It was something like 13 or 16,000 cards, something like that. I wiped everyone down with a paper towel. I took them and put them in groups of like 20 in Ziploc bags with dryer sheets. And I left them in a box for like a year trying to get the smell out of these things. I opened them up. I tried to freshen them out in the air. I tried to get them like in the sun to kind of bake some of the smell off. I put them in a box with coffee grounds for a month. I could not get the smell out of these things. And I ended up, I posted them on Facebook, and I listed smokers damage in there. I was like, these would be great to a group of smokers. There's tons of good cards in here, and there were, if I could have listed them. I listed it for $250, and I got $250 for it. I paid $2. I made $50 on it. Cash. That's awesome. Like, yes, my account went up $50, and I moved all those cards. But the time that I spent on them, wiping every card down, trying the Ziploc baggies, trying the coffee grounds, you figure I burned through over 100 Ziploc bags. How much coffee did I use? How many dryer sheets did I use? The cardboard box itself, like, yeah, I had that lying around, but these are things I'm thinking of a price. Never again. I've been a lot stricter on what I buy since that collection. So that was a learning lesson for me, and goodness gracious. So the guy that bought off me, he had a group of friends. They all split them up, and they were happy with them. That worked out. But one of the big things of that is some inventory is dead. Let it go. I don't know how many hours I wasted on it. Speaking of inventory, my original goal this year, we're on the inventory page, so I wanted to rebuild the collection that I sold. I don't know if I have. In fact, we could use this picture, but the original collection I sold was like 4 of these boxes of Magic cards with a lot of good stuff in them, and probably one of Pokemon. That was my original Pokemon collection. The Pokemon cards were all medium play, heavy play. They were my kids' card. As a kid, they were my cards. I didn't have sleeves. I was moving a lot, stacking them weird places, but I did sell them, and that kind of hurt. So I wanted to rebuild my Pokemon collection, and I wanted to build a cube, it's called, for Pokemon and Magic. A cube is you pick out the cards you want. It's at least 360 cards, and then you and your friends can play with just those 360 cards. So you can balance it. You can almost treat it like a board game. If someone shows up and they don't have a deck, it's like, it's okay. We have cards in here for you to play with. Let's play some Magic. And I'm still working on that. I haven't set any cards aside for it, but I'm definitely building inventory. I could build a cube today. I definitely have enough cards. The problem is finding time to play and who to play with. So that's okay. So that was one of my original goals. And my sourcing for that inventory, like I said, has been almost all on Facebook. I did buy one lot at Goodwill, and I think that's in here somewhere. But I went there. Yeah, I think it was this one. No, down here more. But I was at Goodwill, this one, and I saw it. And I was like, you know what? I'll buy them. I have a Goodwill card. Part of the flipping thing is I have a Goodwill membership. If I spend like $50, I get like 15% off or 20% off. If I spend over 100, I get like 25% off or something like that. So buying all these cards together, I got a price per card that was actually decent, and it was all right. It's okay. It was worth trying. They're all getting listed. They're gonna get sold. So inventory this year, like we talked about this sheet, I wanted to branch out of Magic. I have way too many Magic cards. So trying to sell those and put the money into Pokemon for sure, and a few other card games. We have Yu-Gi-Oh, Lorcana, the old Harry Potter TCG, the World of Warcraft TCG, and a card fight, buddy fight, I think they're called. I got those at Goodwill, but that's what these 5,300 cards are. I need to list them. Some can go on TCG Player, some gotta go on eBay. So I'm trying to mix both those in just so I'm a little diversified. You can't have all your eggs in one basket, because if you do and something tanks, like, what are you gonna do? So one of the reasons I'm moving out of Magic is because I don't like where the game is going. There's a lot of people that talk about this. It's all over Reddit. It's black and white with the way they're selling things and the products they're making too. But this year they're going to have more Magic sets that aren't Magic the Gathering intellectual property. They're releasing these sets called Universes Beyond, and they're universes outside of Magic the Gathering, but you can play them in Magic, in Standard, in tournaments. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It started with The Walking Dead, and now they've got like a Final Fantasy set coming out, a SpongeBob set, and it's not Magic the Gathering. It never belonged in this game. If people like them, they want to play with them at home, go for it. I just don't think personally they ever belonged in Standard. It's one of the reasons I don't play. I'm going to make my cube with the cards I like, and I'm going to play with that cube. That's my answer to that. I'm probably going to buy the singles as cheap as I can to get that cube built. This whole Magic lot has turned into cannon fodder at this point for me. I have very little interest in it because of what they are doing to the game itself. Pokemon has been blowing my mind since I started doing this. I cannot believe how many people still collect these. And collecting is the key word. And this is really cool. However people want to enjoy their cards is completely up to them. If you buy a card and you're happy with it, that's a win. I love seeing people collect just one Pokemon. They'll have like 400 Gengar cards, and that's their thing. That is cool. I think the community for Pokemon and the fact that people collect, they don't play, it's actually better for sales, and I'm moving more into that. I move a lot of Pokemon cards. I'm slowly rebuilding my collection. I think I'm almost there. I might even be a little ahead now. And it's been a great experience. I thoroughly enjoy that. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Lorcana cards are the other two big ones. I'm still kind of waiting to see where Lorcana goes. Lorcana is the Disney card game, and they've released a lot of sets already. A little pricey. They're expensive. So, but if I can buy a collection on Facebook, just like anything else, I buy low, sell high. I'm all about it. I'll slowly build up my collections. Yu-Gi-Oh! I played it a little bit when it came out when I was a kid. I really don't know much about it, but there's still a market for it. They reprint almost everything in like 5-year cycles, so it's harder for a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card to kind of run away in value, where in Magic, like, it might not get reprinted for a long time. And then Pokemon, Magic, and Yu-Gi-Oh! 2 all have they have the first editions and they have the old cards. Those do hold value, of course, but collectors, if they can pick them up in a fresh box, are less willing to pay high dollar for the old version, and people who play are less willing to pay for the old version if they could just get it in the new box. So reprints drive the price down no matter what. And but it's one more avenue for me to explore and learn more with. There's also like Star Wars cards, World of Warcraft cards, like I was talking about. Those, I'm very sparingly picking them up. They're dead games, first off, and if no one plays them, the chances of somebody buying them is a lot lower. But I think it's cool to have them, with the goal being to have like a deck or two of every game, because you never know who you're going to meet. You never know what they play. Maybe you could play a game with them, spark some interest, buy their collection. Just saying. Or maybe somebody sees it and they can finish out the last few cards they needed. You never know. So again, if I can get them cheap, I'll get them and I'll sell them. So on the inventory, one of the things I'm doing, like I said, is I'm listing those high dollar cards. I still have, I'm going to say roughly about 1,000 rares and foils. Maybe 1,000 Magic rares and foils, and about 1,000 Pokemon rares and foils that I need to list. I'm gonna try to knock those out by January, like the end of January. Those should all be on there. Then the next step is going through the commons and uncommons that I have already sorted by year. And what I do is I do year, set, alphabetize. That's the goal. I'm going to order a big batch of plastic dividers, and I can write the year on like the first one, then the set, the next one, then A through Z, next part of the next set of that year, and go through it like that. This is going to make the final sort easier, because once they're all alphabetized, I can go to TCG Player and I can say, like we talked about, I have 10 of these, I have 5 of those, I have 100 of these, I have 6 of those, and I'll be able to very quickly go through and list them all, put them right in the spot, and when I have to come back and pick that order, I'm ready to go. That's how all the stores do it. They have to be organized that way. So I need to get those plastic dividers, and that's going to happen right after these are all listed. Something else I'm looking to add to my inventory this year, hope maybe tentative on both of these, but I might start adding some sealed product if I can get it at a right price. A sealed product is like the unopened boxes. They cost more and you got to hold them longer typically for them to gain in value, but they go alongside the slabs as well. So slabs are graded cards that they put in a slab of plastic with a rating, and once they've been graded by a professional grading service, people are more confident in the price of what they're buying. They're worth more. I don't like sealed because it takes a long time to go up. I don't like graded cards because I like to play with cards. Like, I'm not going to crack a slab to play with the card, so it's kind of dead to me. But people do like to display them, and people do buy them. So I should look into maybe learning more about them and adding them to my inventory. Both of those are higher dollar items. So, like we're talking about with selling a card for a quarter, and I 11 times my money, the profit margin on bulk is great. The profit margin on some of these rares is great. The profit margin on slabs and sealed might be less, but the value might be more than enough to make up for it because of how much more expensive they are. So if I buy a slab or a sealed box for $100, I sell it for $105, I made $5. How many 25-cent cards do I got to sell? Look, that's a lot, right? So at one transaction, I might be able to make more dollars in my account, even though it's less of a margin. So I think trimming these magic cards, and then once we're in the green, maybe adding some of that stuff. And like we said, the total time packaging these things, if I'm focusing on one sealed card or a graded card rather than a whole bunch of singles, I might save enough time for that's also worth the money because I can get back to chasing that whale. Other branching out, I don't have them on here. I have them on another sheet, but like we talked about the Legos. I have some bulk Legos I bought. I've been listing them. I sell them on eBay. People love Legos. And the other one is video games. I have seen a few lots. I've picked up a few lots. I'm keeping them kind of on the side. I have some PlayStation games listed, but the nerdy world between trading cards and video games kind of goes hand in hand. I meet a lot of people interested in both. But if I could pick up a game system and say 20 games and part that out the same way that I'm doing the trading cards, I think I can make some profit on that. And that's another place to go with it. But if I'm going to do it, I'm going to need to synchronize, where'd you go? You know, these numbers, this profit loss thing. Right now, this is just trading cards. If I'm going to bring the other business into it, I got to manage both of those as well. And that might not be worth the time. So slowly, tentatively, we're thinking about that one. There are some other things I do want to learn more about, maybe add in the future. Coins, jewelry and gemstones, rocks and minerals, comics, hobby trains, Hot Wheels, artwork, alcohols, wine and whiskey, and minifigures for wargaming and D&D. I don't follow many of these things, but they're just interesting to me. I follow them enough to like be interested, but like I can't tell you the prices on coins. I can't tell you anything about Hot Wheels. So I just simply want to learn more about that. Goals for 2025. Number one, I need to form an LLC. That's going to happen this year because we're going to go green. And I probably have lost some tax benefits I could have got had I started that sooner when I was buying these collections. And this is very serious. You know, I haven't played an event, goodness, since June of 22. Actually, I know that one. I went to DreamHack in Texas. I haven't played. I've just been selling. I'm treating it like a business. I wish I had more hours dedicated to it, but that's okay. The hours I am dedicating are still trying to be treated as professionally as possible. Number two, I want to get everything listed. Like I said, so LLC, get listed. We're going to look for a PO box this year. Down, I think it's like $80 for the year. We're going to get a PO box set up for my business and my wife's business. We use the same one. And literally a new mailbox. The one out front that I use doesn't have a lid on it. I'm going to use, once I hit green, I'm going to use like $100 to buy a mailbox because I need to. Some other things that I want to do this year, like I said, with networking, I want to reach out to people so that they bring me their cards. I'd rather, they can mail them to me and I can check them out, send them a price or mail them back. We can meet somewhere in the middle. I want people to contact me to sell me their collections. And I know my letter is a step in the right direction. One of the other things I'm going to do is I'm going to print off an advertisement and put it up in like the local convenience stores as I go through on my drives. You know how they usually have like a bulletin board. Get a poster up there, just say, hey, I'm buying trading cards. Because some people do not like social media. So if I can reach them, maybe this is the way to do it. Facebook doesn't let you put up wanted ads, but Craigslist does. I should make one. And I could even put a sign right out front of my house with a number. Or say, hey, leave a letter in my box. I'll contact you, however you want to do it. Those collections I buy, I can treat them one of two ways. I could pay out the cash for them and, leave myself from the profit. Or I could offer people store credit. Store credit isn't going to be worth it to them until I have everything listed. Because if they can't see what I have to buy, what would they spend store credit on? So I need to have everything listed so that I can buy the collection so that they can use it to buy the cards back so I can make profit on both sides. And we can keep the cards moving. So they can get the cards they want, I can get the cards I want, and I get the cards that neither of us want to the people that want them. So that's how that all works. Some other things I want to try are new selling platforms and channels. One of those is like the TikTok sales thing. I got to look into that. And Whatnot, I guess, is really good. I've never seen this. I got to check that. I literally just found out about that this week. Claims sales, they're called. I want to try these on Facebook. You post a picture of like 25 cards and number them 1 through 25, and you let people, you put a price on it and you let people claim them. You leave it up there, come back and check on it in a couple hours. Whoever claimed them first, you message them, set up the sale. It's really interesting. It works in Facebook groups and Discords. Would like to build a Discord this year, I think, and try to contact some people like Discord, some people like Instagram, some people like eBay, some people like, yeah, it's a lot. So I'm slowly learning each one and what population likes to use it and how to talk to them there so that we all benefit. The cool thing with Discord is like we could play games together. Like I don't have time to get out anymore, but maybe I could pick up a late night game here and there with people who are interested in stuff. So sometime in Q3 or Q4, I want to try my first card show. I haven't gone to one. Yeah, that's sad. So room for improvement, right? I need to go to a card show. And then I think I want to participate in one. I think I have enough cards that are actually worth displaying at a price where it would be worth spending $50 to go to a show. And I could break even, make sales, make more contacts in the networking like we talked about, and offer to buy collections. Like I'm going to meet the people who are interested in cards by going to card shows. I've waited too long. I need to go. On that note, like my wife does art shows. We've done a couple. So the P.O. box will help them with their business. We already have the tables and the tablecloths. I just need to make up a couple displays that fit trading cards rather than art show stuff. So our two businesses kind of synergize. which is great. This year I want to be fully in the green because I just got to sell $1,900 worth of stuff, and I think I'm gonna do that. I think we did like I said, it was like 3,200 in sales last year, so I'm gonna do it. I just need to not buy stuff. Some goals for the future of Eman's Emporium, where I see it going. Someday I'd like to have a Patreon set up so that if I had, let's say I had 100 people sign up to my Patreon, I can order product to distribute to them and we both save money. Or like I'll make a little bit and they'll save some. Patreon's like a membership platform, so I'm trying to draw in the interest in that now. And if it takes a few years to get built up, that's fine. But once it's built up, new set comes out, I can order 100 boxes. I can send out 100 boxes, maybe more. And they'll get basically like a bulk price, somewhere below a retail price. I get the bulk price. We meet in the middle. That's a great way for me to move a lot of product and get away from bulk singles, I should say. I do want to get back into playing, but I'm not going to do that until I'm in the green because I want this business to pay for my entrance fees. That was like the original goal. If it's $15 to do a draft, I'm going to pull it out of the business funds, draft, all those cards go right back into the business, and I'll try my best to win more for the business. That's what they do. I have a modern deck for Magic built that I haven't used since June of 22. I should put that back to work. It's like an $800 deck, and it's good. It's fun. I should be using it, or I should sell it. So, I want to refine my collection in the future. I really want Power 9, dual lands, and some first edition Pokemon cards that are on the more expensive side. That's something that we'll work into because I want them for my collection. I want to be able to say, yeah, I own these. But if I put those in my store, they really do draw in eyes. Like, oh, this guy's serious. He has like Power 9. This is great. This is the most powerful cards in Magic. And if I'm playing in events, I can deploy those into those events. Why can't I? So maybe someday brick and mortar cafe bar again. That's what I originally want to start, but that's a ton of overhead. It's a lot of moving parts. Coffee shops and bars are 2 full-time jobs in and of themselves, and I don't want to buy myself a job. I'm an electrician. I probably make more just doing what I'm doing. Just stick to that. But it's a nice concept. Another part of that business is I call it a media library club. Basically, people would be able to cost like $20 for the year, and you'd have access to all my DVDs, all my books, all my CDs, and my video game systems, and you could take out a couple at a time. I want to attach that to it, and at the end of the year it renews. If somebody doesn't bring back a DVD, it comes out of their $20, and they can't pull out anything else till they renew the 20 or replace the DVD or whatever. The way that streaming services are going, they're all trying to charge $25+ a month for the ad-free packages. I think I could get away with $25 for a year. I think there's still enough people out there that want physical media and are willing to try it, especially when they can see that my library just grows. Whereas like this show might only have 2 seasons on Netflix and 4 on Hulu, and they change every month. You can go, nope, I know that Eman down at Eman's Emporium has a full set of friends, and I'm going to go down there and I'm going to borrow it. And we can work something out to make that type of stuff happen. That's like a way off idea, though. Maybe write a book, maybe design a video game around that. So that ties into D&D stuff. But yeah, that's Eman's Emporium at the end of the year. It was an hour long, a lot longer than I meant it to be. A lot of rambling, a lot of staring at this. One of the quick things I wanted to do was one of my last sales right here. This was my last sale of 2024. So this card sold, and here's the breakdown of it. The card was 42 cents. After all the fees, I get $1.18, and I had to buy a stamp, an envelope, so it's like minus 73 cents. Let's open up a calculator right here so you can just see it like this. 1.18. That's from TCG Player. 73 for a stamp, 5 cents for an envelope, 2 cents for sleeves, piece of paper, 37 cents profit on that 1 or 2 cent card. Not bad. there. This is my office where I'm working right now. Yeah, it's a little busy, but you can see the cards in the background. I list here. I bet you can see cards down here on the left. And everything is stored up here. Just trying to refine that shelf. The closer view I showed you this picture earlier. Zooming in, like I gotta go find the Magic cards, which are here right now, and these are Pokemon. So Magic listed. I try to label every box. You got to. Labeling and organization is key to this business. Right now, my inventory is sorted by year. I'm looking to order dividers that are plastic and harder that I can write on. I'm about to get a bunch of them, 450 for 27 bucks. And we're in a year, and then set and alphabetize. I'm just gonna do the core sets, I think. Any of those like small add-on sets will be ignored. They'll just go like in an other pile at the end of that year because there's so few of them. I don't need to dedicate, 300-400 dividers to that. That's insane. And I'll have to buy more as I go. But when I'm organizing cards, I use this tray. So I'll list. I put it in the year right here. And this is the tray I was talking about. I have to move off my desk sometimes. It'll like fill up. So I got to fill up 22, and then I go stick it in the box in 22. So I can. They're put away. Here is the card. Took me a few seconds to find. I had to look through this pile. These are all non-foils of 2015, I think it was. Pack up. Here's my letter. I write a little thank you to the person. Like I said, I put a few extra cards in it. Double sleeve it up. Here's my template for my envelopes. eBay is very similar. I just put in their address here, and it flips it automatically for it. Print it out right on the envelope. And then I have to log it. I log actually first, and then I pack up the card. So or pick card, log, pack. I need to make sure I have the card before I start dealing with it. Then I log the sale. Here it is, the 118 I brought in. You'll notice that the 0.73 stamp isn't here. That's because the stamps are up top. When I buy 100 of them, that's where the negative line item goes. And -4 Magic cards. And I have to log in sales as well. What I paid, so I can see okay, the gross. This is important for sales tax. My actual income for income tax, and the net from the sale, so I can look at margins. Fly track these. A little bit of a flow chart. So I buy inventory. Got to sort the cards. Getting better with the sorting. List cards online, getting better with listing. Store listed cards in inventory. Organized, getting better at that. Inventory sells. Like I said, I have to log it, pack it. So over here should be picking. So pick it, log it, pack it. And then there's maintenance on everything I'm doing. I have to dust off these boxes sometimes. I clean up my spreadsheets. Sometimes I go through and sometimes names change. And I'll add notes sometimes. Depends on what we're doing. And updating these highlights. Anytime I buy a collection, I have to change the formula in these. This one here and this one. Down here for my price per cards. This is a really long formula because it's adding specific boxes together. And that's really about it for that. That's for the card. Just double check, make sure I didn't forget anything else. We took care of that. Oh, yep. This is one of the ways I was trying to take care of the weed cards. I moved them to a new tote, baking soda in there too. I let that sit for a month, all wrapped up. I could not get the smell out of those cards. It was awful. And that is about it, folks. So 2025 is going to be the year we go actually green. And I look forward to it with you. If you have any questions at all about anything in this video, drop a comment or shoot me a direct message. I'll get to them as soon as I can. I do look forward to networking more. And I do enjoy this a lot. I'm still doing it. I've been collecting cards since I was 5 years old. So 26 years now. And been treating this as a business for 3.5. And we're going the green. It's just going to keep growing. Love it. All right. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe. We'll go from there. Take care.